My name is Henry Dziekan. I'm a World War II Navy veteran in the Amphibious Force. I was drafted when I was 18 years old. I went to boot camp at Great Lakes, Illinois. After 6 weeks, we were sent home for 9 days. And then after we returned, they put us on a train and sent us to Norfolk, Virginia. They put us on a waiting ship, the SS Sea Perch. It was a Liberty ship. They put us on the ship there. About 3,000 of us were put on the ship. So when we reached New Hebrides Islands, they told us that we had made 10,000 miles from Norfolk, Virginia there. And all in that hot sun all these days. Took us 28 days before we got to New Hebrides. So finally, the word got through the ships, I guess, and they got information that we are new sailors to be put on different ships. Each ship's supposed to get about 30 of us. So we waited a while till the boats from the ship came to pick us up. So they would come and they would call the ship, and then they would call the names, and then you would follow this guy to the boat from that ship, and they would take you to the ship. I remember getting in the boat, and the LCVP came for us. So we got on the boat, took off, and it was already about 8 o'clock, and when it gets dark in that area, it gets black dark. So we got to the ship, and I remember the boat got hooked up to the ship there, and he was anchored naturally. I remember looking at that ship and I thought, wow, I never seen a ship this high. Because, we were almost on the sea level. So we asked one of the fellows on the boat, he said, what kind of ship is this? And he said, oh, it's an attack transport. That's all they had to tell us. We were shaken mad and scared. We leave New Hebrides aboard our ship now. We have new duties. So we sail over to New Guinea. We went to New Guinea to get loaded with heavy artillery, light tanks, and all that for our next invasion. Well, we didn't know what this was all about. So they load the ship up, and then from there we go to Guadalcanal. At Guadalcanal, the reason we went for Guadalcanal is because the troops were exercising, not exercising, but going through invasions, practicing what this is all about. They're going on an invasion. Well, we didn't know where. Well, the ship was here a few times, a few days. So they asked for a work party to go on the beach to get some more food for our ship, because now we're getting troops aboard. So I volunteered for it. So we got on the beach. They had a truck waiting for us. All of us, there was about 8 of us volunteered. We got in the truck. The truck went a little while, and all of a sudden I looked at a big sign, and 299th Anti-Aircraft Unit, Army. And it dawned on me, I said, that 299 seems, I said, hey, wait a minute. I said, I think that's my brother's outfit. So I asked the driver, I said, because he had open truck, you know. So I asked the driver, I said, could I stop here for a minute? And he said, yeah. And then I told him why. He said, oh yeah. He says, we'll wait. It won't take long. So I went in there and I asked. There was a woman there behind the counter, and I asked her, you know, gave her my brother's name, and I said, is he here? I said, because I think this is his outfit. I gave the name. She looked at me, yeah, he's here, but he's on a work party. See, on a different work party. So I gave her the name, my name, and the ship I'm on. And gets to tell them that I'm here, you know. So it was, so then we went back, we loaded up the truck and brought it back to the boat. We had to, from the truck now, we have to put it in the boat. When we get to our ship, now we take it and they'd haul it up on the ship. Now from the ship, you gotta form a line and pass the box after box. About 20 feet, you put it in a certain place where that type of food goes aboard the ship. At that time, I was working in the mess hall, just temporary. That was my job, temporary working, handing out food. You know, when it's a chow time, they form the lines. They go through with trays, and we just give whatever food. You like if I have mashed potatoes, I get mashed potatoes, dump it in their tray, and I'm working. All of a sudden, somebody calls Hank. I heard it, but I thought, oh, you know, someone's kidding around. And then I hear a real loud voice, Hank, there's someone to see you. I said, I turned around, now looking at that guy, oh, it's my brother. He was there over 2 years, and how nice it worked out for me to meet him. But when we got together, we had nothing to say. We were really choked up a little bit, for one, and secondly, our ship is all loaded for, you know, an invasion. Not the troops yet. The troops were, there were some that were truck drivers and that, but we haven't had the troops. So after a while, I asked, he came with his friend. They wouldn't let one go out on visits, always two. So I asked my brother, you know, if they would want to eat. And he said, yeah, they didn't eat lunch. So I took them to our mess hall and I asked the chief cook there, I said, you know, that they didn't eat lunch. Oh, he said, here, breaking the line. They broke in the line for two of them, gave each one a tray. And that day they were serving ham with raisin gravy. And anyway, we ate there, and my brother says, we haven't had such good chow even on Christmas. And I said, oh, this is about the worst food that we get. So it was a nice meeting. They told me to take the rest of the day off, so we sat underneath the 5-inch gun mounted on our ship in the front. We had a 5-inch on post, you know. So, and that was our favorite spot. And there, after we have lunch, we get a little rest period. We used to go lay down in the shade there and fall asleep till they passed the word back to work. So we were there for several hours, and so it was almost time for him to leave. So I took him back to the chief cook to tell, you know, and tell him thanks for the food. He said, wait a minute. He says, come to the bakery. It's a bake shop. So he went there, he said, we just baked, it was white bread. He says, here, take this with you. And then we went to the chief cook of the servers, and he wrapped up some food. I think it was baked ham, something like that, to take with. And then I had a pair of shoes, brand new ones, in my locker. I showed him my locker, he said, oh, he said, you got real nice shoes. I said, you want them? Yeah. So we both walked off the ship with arms full. So we right then we knew already that we're going on an invasion to Peleliu. Oh, that's my first invasion, and I knew, oh yeah, we knew we were going on an invasion. Well, now we found out where. So it took us about a week going there, and all of us were scared. Those new guys, the old guys, already made 2 or 3 invasions with the same ship. So we were all worried about it. And you were told, oh, it's not that bad, it's not bad. Well, to make this short, is the morning of the invasion, we knew that the invasion is going to be next day. So we got up early, went to the top side, we slept down below, came to the top side deck, and looked up there and said, oh, wow, what a different world. You got these battleships shooting over our heads. You see planes there. Once planes would be going, our planes would be dropping bombs or strafing, and then they would quit, and then the ships would be firing again, and this went up about 2 or 3 times. And then of our ship, that morning they woke us up early for the invasion. So what we do is you would see what goes on when they tell us turn to. We got to unhook all the winches, the booms, the davits for lowering boats, and they had to get what you call the winches to lift up the boats and take them over. So had to take off 22 boats, and they all are tied up behind the ship, and then they give the word for the troops to depart by your commander, because sometimes you have 2 or 3 different groups of troops. So they call one boat, one boat for each side, and we were loading 4 boats at a time, and we had to throw off that net. They'd all be climbing down with their full uniform and their packets and rifles, and they had to climb down into our boats. And as soon as they got about, depending on how they're set up, about 18 soldiers or Marines with their packs, and once the boat is full, the boats that are loaded go to a certain place from distance from the ship and start circling the ship. As the boats are getting loaded here with troops, the boats loaded, they go and they join the circle. Before you know it, you got about 20, 22 boats all circling the boat and all really make a lot of noise. It must have taken about 3 days, because they send, the first ones are the infantry. Now, what happens here is as I told you, when we came in, we had these ships shooting over us. Well, our ship is staying here, and actually the battle wagons, cruisers, they could shoot over us for 20 miles or even more. So while they're doing that, the first wave is coming in. So once they get the word, the shooting stops, and it seems like the main thing is to get all the enemy troops, almost knocked out from all this noise and bombing and killing and all that. It takes them, they figured out about 15 minutes for them to get back to their mind. Well, and that time is that when the first wave goes in. The day goes in, you get a foothold, and then next boats, these boats get out, next ones come in and keep filling up, and those troops keep moving. Our troops keep moving in. Of course, a lot of them get killed and hurt, but that's the way it goes. So this goes on till the invading forces, that's us, and we're coming in, and sometimes they get locked down by the enemy, where they got the whole thing worked out so that if any head pops out from from our troops over a certain boulder or something that they have, they got them, they shoot them down. So our troops are stuck, they can't move, because if we keep sending in troops, we're going to pile up dead troops on our side. So what they do, they try different things. They try to send maybe 2 or 3 boatloads on an area where there's no fighting going on, just to get some of these troops, the enemy troops, to move over there to take care of that side, and that's how we can get in. So this takes about 3 days, and in the meantime, they will ask for something that we have, maybe guns or ammunition or gasoline or something. The boats are waiting for us to load them up. They go in there, and then when they come on their way, before they come back, if there's anything that has to go back to the ship, they'll load it on our boat. Or if there's wounded, they'll put them in the boat. I think about eight stretchers could fit in that boat. So when it comes to the boat, to our ship, we have these hoists, lift them up in 2 at a time. Some of them you lift up and they're gone, and some of them, what you don't see, that the arms hanging from the stretchers and that. And one of the worst things that I witnessed on these invasions is when I was assigned, in the mess hall before. So just before we came to Peleliu, they transferred me over to the medical department, or surgery room. That's almost what you would call it. So I walked in there, and they told me, okay, your job is done here, you're going to work in there till maybe a week or so. So I walked in there, and that was a horrible sight to see. People just knocked to pieces. And boy, what a feeling I got. I said, and this is war. I mean, why? I mean, you guys' faces are knocked off, of their arms, legs, or what have you. I said, one guy I had to take care of, his whole jaw was gone, his whole lower jaw. And my job there, and those that were assigned to work with sick bay, most of the time what we would be doing is wiping the wounded off, and then have a little pack of penicillin And just twice a day we have to put that on their wounds, you know. And that is something I'll never forget. From the once we left Peleliu with the wounded, we went to I don't even know what island anymore. What island we went to that has a hospital, a military hospital. So you go there, you take the wounded off, and then you take off. They probably send you to another island where you're going to eventually load up and start all over again. In the meantime, if you're in dock, you don't have as much duties of, lookouts and that. There's no lookouts. The crow's nest, no, you are in a crow's nest when you're on the move. The crow's nest is way up here. So you're working down here, and then you have to climb all the way up here. And you have to watch. If you're up here and there's man your battle stations, I had duty on the bridge one time. So I had to all the way down here, down on the main deck, go under here and go all the way up here on the bridge. And you had to be there within 3 minutes. With everybody running every which way. And there's no excuses. You, and especially me, having the fire control, the helmet and the phones, I had to be the first one, for my gun group to report that we're all present. So our next one was a lady in the Philippines. And a lady in the Philippines, we had hundreds of ships. You looked any place you see, there were ships all around. So how they get them in the right places at the right time, I could never figure out. Yeah, but we were there, everything worked so nice. And on our way to Leyte, we had 5 planes come in and try to bomb mostly aircraft carriers. They were out from aircraft carriers. But it's very scary when the planes come because, they can turn so fast. So they pass your ship, they may come within seconds, they can come right back and throw the bomb on your ship. They work fast. But we had a lot of it. In the morning, we have 1 hour where we have to man the battle stations when we're going to an invasion. So that because they say the Japanese subs were most active in early morning because they can hide in the shadows of darkness, with the sun shining, we wouldn't see them. So anyway, in Leyte we got through. The invasion's going, everything's working. And this time we didn't pick up casualties, but there we had, in fact, I think the cruiser Helena was sunk right by Leyte. And while we were at Leyte, a few, say, months ago, we were able to pick up Tokyo Rose. I don't know if you know Tokyo Rose. She was in propaganda, but her music was beautiful. But she was out to break our morale. So she would play, to say, you poor guys are out there, and he says, at home they're having a great time, and they don't even think of you. And then they'll play romantic song, she'll play a romantic song, and she'll break in there and say, "Boy, wouldn't you like to be home right now?" And that's what her programs were. But she had good music, so we had no other radio except this international radio, and that was awful music. You could have static, but Tokyo was coming in so good. When we were at in Lady, and the invasion was going good, and we were getting ready to leave. She announced to us, and she mentioned our ship. She used to call our ship the Mighty Yell. She said, "And you on the Mighty Yell," she said, you're going to get in at Lady." She says, "We know that you're Lady, but you will never get out." He says, "Just mark my words." Well, sure enough, it wasn't but a few nights later, we got the word, it was evening already, we got the word to light up smoke cans all over the ship, make smoke, because what's happening, 3 Japanese fleets were coming in, and they were going to take and get rid of all of us. So they told us to with the smoke pots is so they come, even though they have radar and all that, they won't be able to see us because we've got a big cloud over us, Well, we laid all that out, and so we said, "Oh, Tokyo Rose was right." Oh, just when we were expecting to the fleets to start coming in, word came to, okay, douse the smoke pots. The Japanese fleets were coming in, and for some reason, instead of turning towards us, they turned the opposite direction. After the war, and I read this story, they questioned the commander, I don't know his name, the Japanese commander of the 3 fleets. They asked him, "Why did you turn opposite way towards Tokyo instead of coming to Lady?" And this guy looked and he says, "I don't know." So and this is, I've heard this, from the conversation. I said, what they said, was it divine intervention? What was it? A lot of people claimed it was. Because he says he had he said he just went there and he just turned off. So here we were almost all done for, because that Japanese fleet, if one of them came, they would have got rid of all of us. But here, 3 of them came, one from the center and one from either side. They were all going to come in and just keep shelling to get rid of us. Then the next invasion, after all going back, get material and get new troops, our next one was Luzon. Now at Luzon, that's where that's the Philippines, and that's where the Bataan and Corregidor was. We were going to Luzon to take it back. And the Japanese had something like 8,000 of our men, prisoners, and they were starving them and beating them up and killing them. And when they knew that we made the invasion, they got the order to annihilate, those the American prisoners. And that's when the army got, I think, 126 men that they were told, they want volunteers to get those prisoners safe before the Japanese get them. And they were American troops were told, "You probably won't be back because this is a risk you're taking to say to those men, well, they did it and got almost all the prisoners out, except those that were killed by the Japanese on that march and all that. When we were leaving Luzon, after the invasion, we had another air raid by Japanese planes came in, and I was on the bridge, with my helmet and that, and the gunners were there, and here comes a Japanese plane at us, right for us. Our guns were shooting, and this plane is coming no matter how much. You should see all the everybody shooting at that one plane. He came right through, and he was seconds from slamming into it. And if he was slamming to our ship, he would slam right where I was. He was coming right for me. So the officer that's taking care of the talkers, when the plane was so close, he pushed me under a canvas that was hanging, pushed me over that. And so I said, "Oh, we'll get that." I'm waiting for time. And all of a sudden, I see my mother's picture in her rocking chair. She was praying. Another intervention. And I seen there for a second, and I said, "I'm dead." But I didn't hear nothing. And all of a sudden, I look, and I see shoes. Right up. So just then the officer was there. He lifts the tarp up, and he says, "Commander, it's okay." He said, "Hurry up, stand up and look over there." So this ship, I don't know how he was so close to hitting us. I don't know how he went over us. And as he told me to watch, I watched the ship, and it's the USS DuPage got hit by the kamikaze. I seen just when he hit it, and I see there was a big explosion, then explosions all the way to the stern of the ship. And then I looked down here, I got this on the computer, and I looked at it, and damaged by kamikaze. So it was 33 dead, and I think 165 killed by the kamikaze. And they couldn't put the flyer out, it just kept coming up. There's a lot of smoke. Then the next invasion was Iwo Jima. There we had mines, and we had aircraft, alerts, and we had quite a bit of general quarters, battle stations, shooting. Well, we were in this one instant, we were sailing through, and here comes the Japanese. I was on the bridge in my station, and here comes a Japanese plane between the two columns of ships. Well, when that happened, the guns on the ships are set that they can't shoot lower than 45 degrees. Because if they do, they'd be shooting our own men on the other ships. So they knew this. So this pilot comes and he's flying between it, and he waves. I wave back. And then, you just the guy's just like us, he's got to be there. Well, we were watching, and they said, "Oh, look," and we couldn't shoot him because he was lower. So he goes to the last ship, and all of a sudden he drops a torpedo at one of our last ships. That torpedo bounced around over that ship in the water. After that, after Iwo Jima and Okinawa, we had to pick up troops, old troops that are, were wounded and all that. You can't put anymore. we brought them to Long Beach, California. Hooray, we were finally liberty, you know. So this was in August, and a few days is they're announcing about the atom bomb. So I was in Long Beach, California when we dropped the atom bomb, and it took a few weeks for us to get Japan to finally surrender. So after that, they would start discharging people from ships, decommissioning ships because didn't need them anymore, and then finally our turn came to go to the state, take the ship around Panama Canal again to Norfolk, Virginia, where we decommissioned it. If I had to do it over again, I would be first to join the Navy. But the Navy, I think, is a nice, clean, comfortable life.